if you try to fix every question to a template, and the templates that you're aware of, if you try to fix everything to a template, then solving QA questions would become difficult, because now you're turning this IQ test into an exercise of memory. Okay, this is how this should be done. This is how this should be done. The ability to solve 8 or 9 questions. Also, with all due respect, this is also sort of a humble brag. There are people who are not able to do 8 or 9 questions right now. So you are much further along. See, 8 or 9 questions in CAT, 24 to 27. This would be upwards of 90th percentile to the best of my recollection. This would be upwards of 90 something percentile, which is more decent than a lot of people. Yet, what I'm saying is, you have to train yourself. You have to train yourself. Focus on the question at hand. Don't worry about what was done in class. This is the first worry. This is the first, for this particular candidate, I'm sure this is the trouble. Now, more generically, some people also have this talent. They feel they have completed the whole syllabus. They feel they are revising very regularly, but a lot of content that they're going through is not logical. It is heavily formula based. I, for one, hate formula, and I, for one, hate I, for one, understand the limitation of formula. Within formulae work only in certain constrained limited setups. Formulae are not bad. Formulae are awesome. But you should know how the formula came into being, so that if at all one of the constraints is tweaked, you're still able to work with that formula by tweaking the formula appropriately. Let's say if I ask you, there are n lines, what is the maximum number of intersection points that they would have? Most people would be able to tell me NC2. N lines, number of intersection points that they have, NC2. But if I tweak it and tell you there are 18 lines, 6 of which are parallel, what is the maximum number of intersection points that these lines would have? You should be able to understand that for those 6 lines, you will not have intersection points because they are parallel. So your answer now would be 18C2 minus 6C2. Out of every pair, out of those 6 lines, 6C2 pairs that you're getting, they have to be removed from the total. But then this should come as an idea. We're doing 6C2 because any 2 lines that you take can have an intersection point. But if it is a parallel line, it will not have an intersection point. How many pairs of parallel lines can you take? So tweaking along the way, for that to happen, you should know how a formula came into being, why a formula is being used at all. If you can get to that level, then your concerns would be addressed a little more. If at all, it is heavily, let's call it formula based, you only remember things. Stuff like extension of the Apollonius theorem 4 times, 4 times the sum of squares of medians is equal to 3 times the sum of squares of sides. You know this formula precisely. It is highly unlikely, and the areas in which you will get most trouble if you have done your studies very, very formula heavy based is number theory, is geometry, and algebra. Because anyway, in arithmetic, even though you know formula, because arithmetic, the questions are such that you're able to imagine yourself in that situation, you still fight your way through it. But in algebra and geometry and number system, if your study has been extremely formula centric, that would be a problem. So this is more generic advice.